Greetings, ladies and gentlemen readers. I'm Dwyer, and I just finished reading me Ironbound, and by just finished, I mean 15 days ago, because I read it immediately when it came out. Now, interest of full disclosure, I'm really enjoying the world that J.L. Mullins has created, whoever that person is. I like the slice of life progression fantasy that they've got going on. The world feels believable, and it's been feeling believable for 8 books now. We have got power progression that isn't like the last book that I just reviewed. Maybe, I don't know if I've released it yet, depending on my upload order. But that one was Advent of the Apocalypse, where you just had like some dude rushing to be like the best in the world, in a world that doesn't even feel believable after it's been completely destroyed. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. Sorry, but it just doesn't. This is not a person who does everything correctly. They get into problems. They make mistakes. They learn from them. They get stronger. It's fan-frigging-tastic. Overall, this is one of the... you can argue that it's slow because, again, it's slice of life. It's very important if you get into this that you understand slice of life. It means this is not a person who's destined to do something grand. This is a person in the world. Occasionally, they get to make a difference. They're in the right place at the right time to make a difference. But they're not the chosen one. They are not the one whose prophecy was foretold or anything like that. They're Bob. Yeah, Bob's out there doing cool stuff now because, like, he's got a good work ethic. You know, he's, like, pumping iron and getting stronger. And occasionally someone tries to steal candy from a baby when Bob's around. And Bob goes, bonk, what are you doing? Stop doing that. Right? That's essentially what slice of life typically is. Exaggeration, obviously. That's typically what it is, right? And... yeah, this one is fantastic slice of life. And it keeps delivering exactly what it is. It advances the plot, but it's very much them existing in the world. And I can't sing its praises enough. I think right now it is probably one of the best progression fantasy novels currently ongoing. I can't think of a lot of series where I'm like, 8 books in, did any of them, did I really not like any of them? And I can't think of one that I'm like, they really dropped the ball on this one or that one. Like, not really. Ironbound was fantastic. Escal was amazing. Fusing, I don't remember. I think I remember Fuse. I remember Fuse. Fuse was okay. Very slice of life. Fusing, where we got to see a monster as a building for the first time that they stumble across. Like, there's a lot of really, really great things here. Now, because it's slice of life, we do see some decline in readership, unfortunately, because a lot more people in this space want the mustache twirling villains. You want to see the MC become a god in like a book. And people who, don't get that, they're going to nope out of it pretty fast. But there's a reason why we've got 5-star reviews solid on most of these books. It is actually well earned, in my opinion. And so, yeah, in this one, she's going back to, small spoilers, in the previous book, she was kidnapped, had her brain screwed with, to create a personality that could be like an unrelenting murder machine. And now they're figuring out who they are with that part of their brain still in their head, obviously, while going back to the world they knew and reintegrating into society and finding out where to go from here and their next steps along their path to power. So there's like all of these different concerns they have, and you believe that they've actually got all of these different concerns. They've set out rules for the magic system within this, and I haven't really seen it broken. Like, yeah, these are the rules that are set out, and we're not going to suddenly break them because this person's the main character, and main character does main character things, so the rules don't really apply to them. Yeah, not really having any of that. Like, I'm interested when they do even simple things in slice of life, like they're going back to their family. It's like, okay, they're essentially immortal now. Their family is not. How's that gonna play out? They're aware of factions throughout the entire world now, some of which will literally eat humans for lunch. Most of humanity doesn't know these things. How are they interacting with just the world around them? And what's interesting about how this book and how it kind of ends is we're starting to see a peek at time opening up because this character is immortal now. And as an immortal, they're not really feeling the rush to hurry over and do this or do that. They're like, well, what do I want to do for the next 20 years? So that's a good point. Like, if you want to spend the next 20 years just perfecting your ability to make cookies, you could do that if you wanted to, because you've got that time. Short of something literally splattering you, you're not going to be in any trouble, so you can do whatever you want. And they're balancing that kind of thing too. So yeah, I can't. It's very simple. I cannot sing Ironbound's praises enough. If we just Google progression fantasy, I would imagine that I'm going to come back with a bunch of things I'm not going to like. Okay, I lied. Kieran was pretty good. Ashborn Primordial, I didn't. I have not read First Wizard, Dawn of the Wizards, or whatever. Arcane Academy was great, but it couldn't survive even 2 books because the second one sucked. And then you've got, obvious harem novels in the series as well. Wasn't really into Chi equals MC squared. Couldn't really get into the character. The world wasn't really feeling very believable. Mark of the Fool gets a nod. Return of the Runebound Professor didn't get quite a nod. More harem stuff, obviously. Well, okay, I don't know it is. I actually don't know it is. I have seen a couple of books in this genre. They're just kind of like using AI imagery that does strike as kind of harem, that isn't. So maybe I'm being too harsh and it isn't. I don't know. Stargazer's War is probably the only one I'd rate over this one. But you get the idea, right? In the whole progression thing, in the whole progression fantasy, it's rough. It's rough really finding the ones that shine the brightest. And this one definitely does. Absolutely does. So without spoiling all of it, all I can say is if you want a progression novel or you want to dip your toe into it and you don't mind it being a slower paced slice of life, yeah, pick this up. 8 books running and it's still going strong, still getting my recommendations. So many things can't say that. But they're staying true to what people liked in the first one, and then you still have it progressing and you still have those elements 8 freaking books later. I cannot stress enough how much of an amazing accomplishment that is as a writer. Congratulations to J.L. Mullins. They know what they're writing. They know why people are reading their story. They know where they're going. They're not breaking how they're getting there just to rush the plot or to make up things just to make things up. We're not getting cheap comedic relief just to try to sell more copies. I love it. I adore this series to death. Recommend it completely. Pick it up, Ironbound, or start with book 1 if you haven't yet. It's great. It's not going to let you down. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. That's all I'm going to say about it.